all the districts in Tshwane report to her. MEC Chiloane should be familiar with him. We're not going to be having a long briefing, but we decided to come to the school, as it were, just to make some announcements on how we've been managing this incident which occurred, and we have already started to action, a lot of things since this matter started. But MEC will lead us, and then we'll give you an opportunity to ask questions, and then we'll close it there. MEC?
No, thank you, Steve. Thank you. Good afternoon. I know that with the media houses, I've been with them the whole day. Thank you once more for coming through. This briefing shouldn't be long. It's just about decisions that we have taken around this incident that has happened in the school. As you know, that we had given the school and the district an opportunity to deal with this matter, so that we don't come here and make assumptions. So we're giving an opportunity to the district, working with the school leadership, the SGB, to really come to determine the merits of this case and the process in dealing with this unfortunate incident that we're dealing with today. So as things stand, we have the 12 learners that were suspended. 8 of them were what you call leaders prefects, for that matter. They were withdrawn immediately, together with the privileges that come with that particular endorsement or support or approval of being a prefect. And then we further, through the investigation, there were some determination that we saw, and new evidence that had come forward that this is not an incident, a recent incident. There has been this complaint for quite some time, from last year as well, 2023, that were raised by some of the learners, and one of the whistleblowers came forward, and what makes me sad is that he was she, because the girls' school is not a he, it's a she. So she got victimized, but she did come forward, and we're able to get that evidence that was received. So based on that, while we're still busy with the disciplinary process, we have taken a decision to suspend the principal of the school up until we conclude this matter. We've appointed the deputy principal, one of the deputies, to come in and act in the interim. Now, the issue is that the principal stayed on the property. So it doesn't mean that when we've suspended her, then obviously she can take her bags and go home, wherever home is. But if you sometimes you see her not in the school property, in the yard that were designated her to stay, just understand that that's where she stayed. Because I know that you might say the principal is at the school premises. No. She's been barred from communicating with learners, she's been barred from communicating with parents, she's been barred from communicating with educators. Albeit they speak as friends in the malls, wherever. But in terms of the school processes, she's been suspended up until we conclude. So the suspension is for 3 months. So we are anticipating that in 3 months we'll be done with this whole case and the whole disciplinary process. So furthermore, we are starting working on a program for diversification program, or rather soul cohesion program, because what we see that there is an underlying problem within the school. The deep-rooted racial undertone that we are picking up. Because of these things, they keep on coming up and keep on coming up. And it's not all learners, it's not the whole schooling board, but there's few elements, very few. I can safely say 90% of the school is functioning, learners are okay, just that those ones, and you know that there's a tendency, if you leave something for too long, it can grow. So we have to deal with it very early. So we will be embarking on a program, diversification, social cohesion program, which will be led through the parental body. You know, these children are born after 94. You know, so I can't say these kids are have been brought in the old regime. You know, these are kids who are born in democracy. These are kids who know nothing but democracy. So when these things come up, you realize that perhaps the problem might not necessarily be the children. You know, the problem is perhaps it's at home. So this program will be largely led through the SGB, so that we also work with parents and really make them realize that schools teach, schools develop, but discipline is taught at home. The need to appreciate other people is taught at home. We teach, we ensure that we concretize social cohesion, concretize this relationship, because we here in schools, our role has always been simple. And I always tell people that schools is where nations are built, because that's where everybody comes together. That's where we uncover each other's talents, strengths, and weakness, and we even discover our own selves as human beings. We discover it in schools. So as development centers where we're building this nation, there needs to be an appreciation of each other through our diversification. So this program will be in school. We'll bring it up again into the school, but led also in particular the parental board, because that's where I'm feeling the problem is. The problem is with the parents. So we'll be doing that. So this is some of the interim decision we're taking around the school. So what I would want to appeal as well as I conclude, I know there's been matches, we've heard you, we've seen you. This is a critical period in the schooling calendar. It's an exam period. It's where we conclude, and we want our kids to really focus, to really focus and really perform at their best. You know, so we have intervened as a department, we've come in, let's allow this process. We'll come back and report. We're not saying that social activists can't exist. Social activists are okay. They can come forward if there are any challenges, it's all right, but it should not be a norm, especially in this period. It's an examination period, and we want our kids to come in and study and really do their best and be supported by us as parents. So we have noted that, and really, this is just an appeal to the colleagues from political parties that are present here, that please, let's this process, where we are now, decisions have been taken, let's allow internal process to unfold, and there's also an appeal mechanism that I should also highlight. If the outcomes from the SGB disciplinary process is not satisfactory, those who had lodged the grievance, they can always bring it up to the second layer, which comes to the district and upward up until the MEC for determination. So there's always an appeal process. But currently, because we have policies, you know, and want to adhere to our own policy, because it's our framework and guiding document on how we deal with issues, we are allowing it to go in this particular, move in this particular manner. Yeah, so that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, MEC. Let's allow you to ask questions. Patricia, 1, 2, 4, 4, Mariska. Anya, Mariska?
Yeah, but I'm quiet.
Okay. 4, and then it's media, we're taking media, please. Ralph. No, someone at the second round. Let's go.
It's a question precisely from the SABC. MEC, can you maybe just stipulate more clearly on what grounds is the principal suspended, from which day did the suspension start, and how long has the principal been working at the school? Can you just get clarity on that?
Okay, number 2.
Thank you so much. Let me see if it was on the second eyewitness news. Please forgive me if I asked questions that you may have covered. It's really difficult to hear you from here. You spoke about how the racism challenge is actually at a challenge at the home, and I'm concerned that we might be absolving the school of responsibility. Do we know what role, and maybe ma'am, you may help us with this, do we know what role the school, if any, has played in this incident? And I know that there's an investigation. So if you can just help us with that, what was the role particularly of the school in us getting here? And then my colleagues asked the questions around the principal. But ma'am, also, we are hearing that the people that have been suspended, the girls that have been suspended, are girls who are in leadership at the school. Is this in any way an indication of the culture at the school, with girls who are prefects and are supposed to be leading the people here find themselves in this situation? Thank you.
Okay, Tim.
I'm going to from ENC. Just to add on to my colleague, just on maybe here, are you blaming the parents, MEC, and the role of the educators, maybe importantly? And we understand that the school didn't act when the issue was brought up by a white learner last year. Why didn't the school act? You have got an indication around that. As well as we understand that black girls were dismissed and told that this will blow over when this issue was actually raised, like the issue that happened in 2016. That's the response that they were told. And do you believe the SGB itself is independent and will effectively deal with the disciplinary process? Shouldn't be there like an independent body, as you did with the Davidson Skills School, where they look at the issues raised there independently? Thank you.
Okay, listen. I think Paula is view one. Who was this? Oh, yeah, sorry.
MEC, I want to make sure, I heard some of the girls that suspended is in matric. Is that going to be taken into consideration when a decision is made during the disciplinary hearing for exams that lies ahead? And I also want to ask the same with Patricia regarding the suspension. Is that for a specific fixed time she's going to be suspended? No, that's it.
Okay, you see?
Okay. All right, some I'll give to the Chief Director to answer. Now, hear me correctly when I'm saying, I'm not in any way saying I'm absolving anybody. I'm highlighting a character problem. The kids are taught respect, discipline, integrity, all those characters that you need at home. That's what I'm saying. And then at school, we reinforce, because we are guided by a code of conduct that acts as a framework of how a learner should behave. And if a learner transgresses, we can't say this as a school, we didn't tell you that it's wrong to back chat at the teacher, or it's wrong to fight. We have put it there. We have told our kids that you can't do this, but if they continue doing it, it means there's an underlying behavioral problems that must start somewhere. And in most cases, it starts outside the school. So I'm not in any way saying I'm absolving the educators, some of the educators that are implicated here. I'm not. That is a process that's been undertaken. There's a disciplinary process. I can't predetermine an outcome of it. We'll see what happens post the disciplinary process by the SGB in this regard. So, but I can't shy away that racism is a problem. And racism is up there with some of the, worst of form of crimes that can happen. Racism is just equally as bad. It's violence to one's psyche. These learners that experience this discrimination, they had to undergo counseling. And now you could imagine that maybe now these learners are going to take some years to really recover. And when things affect you while you are still young, they stay with you for a very long time. In fact, for the rest of your life. In a way. So it is a problem. You can't deny it. And the challenge is how you deal with it in most cases. You find there's a sexual harassment or sexual violation case. In such an instance, we take decision immediately. You will prove your innocence in court. But we're not doing that because you are guilty. We're doing it that we are also stopping the cancer. If you're innocent, you'll come back. If you're proven by court otherwise, then that person. But in such, that's where we are. We're taking precaution. That's why we say it's a precautionary action. So, the year's duration, the others that the Chief Director will answer. Let me finish this other one, then we'll come in. So, it's a precautionary suspension based on, we'll give the act, the proper act, I'm sure you're writing it. These are expertise. But in the nutshell, it's because the principal knew about this matter from last year, 2023. There was a report, and there was no action taken then. You see, that's where we are with the principal, that you knew, and you knew the gravity of this situation, and you left it. So this is where we are with the principal. Yes, I'm worried that one of the learners, some of them are matriculants, but we will have a program. There should be a program that's structured around how the learner is supported outside the process. But they should be understood that there is always repercussion for action. So if you act unfortunately, you will find yourself in a particular difficult spot. But the school, together with I'm sure they will come up with they do have a program in place to support that particular learner, especially the matriculants. And it's said that these learners are leaders, student leaders. It's really quite sad that there are student leaders who really are speaking of this, because leaders are supposed to unite people, be accepting of everyone. So, but the DC will inform us. So the years of service, the Chief Director will answer. The school has not been necessarily absolved. That's why the principal has been put on precautionary suspension. And we are also looking at other educators as well. We're looking at other educators. Some of them we'll ask them to report to the district up until the investigation is done. I'm not going to mention names. Don't ask me who. But we're busy. So we're busy with some of the educators. Really, we want to clean up this thing. I don't like to come back to Pretoria Girls for such things. I hope I'm the last MEC really to come back for racial matters. I told them, the school leadership, I told them that I want to come here for 100% metric pass rate. I want to come here for 100% bachelor pass. I want to come here for metric, for distinctions. That's what I want to come here for. I can't be coming here to dealing with this thing again. So that's why this time we're firming our hand. We're really firming our hand so that really the message goes out there that racism will not be tolerated in our schools in any way. Whether it's from black children to white kids, or from white kids to black children, or black teachers to white children, or white teachers, or black teachers, or white teachers, to any form of racism to and fro, it won't be tolerated, and will act the same way to every single one of them, and will be decisive. Because we can't allow, where we are, you know, in 30 years of democracy, we can't be dealing with these issues again. You know, we should be dealing with different things on how do we take our schools and our society forward. So the independent body, there's no need for now. Really, there's no need. I have a full trust on the SGB for now. And I've said that there is an appeal process. If they are not happy, they can then bring it to us. Then we'll allow the internal process of dealing with it for now. If needs be, yes, I have no issues. I can bring an independent law firm to come and investigate. But these independent law firms cost money. They are not for free. So you need to know when you actually bring them in. We bring them in when the report that we are seeking has more information and details are external from the school. Then we bring them to assist us because we are not investigators. But if this one is more internal, all the information we need is internal, then we don't source these independent law firms. So for now, there's no need for an independent law firm, but I can't say to you, I might not bring it if the outcomes are not satisfactory to those who lodged the grievance and based on our own investigation. So I'm not ruling out anything in that regard. So if I've missed anything.
Thank you, MEC. Just to follow up on the question of what are the grounds for the suspension of the principal, indeed, it is based on the Employment of Educators Act 76 of 1998, where the Schedule 2 deals with suspension of educators, of which the principal falls under that category. And the grounds for the suspension is that we are going to investigate the matter, as it is alleged that the matter was reported to the school leadership and the school failed to deal with the matter. So it is a precautionary suspension. We are still investigating. I think the others, MEC, you have dealt with adequately. And the 90 days, it started, the district started the process around the 19th of July when it was reported, and the suspension is, as of today, for 3 months, August, September, and end of October.
And how long is the
I think the district might be best positioned, but I know that she was appointed after 2016, right? So I think it's about 4 years. I stand under correction, MEC.
Okay, we will. Can I ask the question?
I asked.
We will confirm it and give it to you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
2018. It is confirmed as the principal was appointed in 2018.
Okay. So let's take the last round. MEC would like me to make okay, the follow-up. Okay, Stila. Now it's you, Marisol. 3, Muto. 4. This is the last one. Okay. You're coming back to 5. Okay. Okay. So let's start. Who was the first? It's you.
Hi, everybody. It's Mariska from the Citizen. I just want to find out exactly what will happen to the pupils. They are suspended and it's being investigated. But I'm also just thinking about, they are in matric, some of them were in leadership positions. And, simply being suspended and getting your badge removed just before your school year ends, already halfway, is that enough in our education? And also, it's a little bit going to the side, but I did read in those WhatsApp something about there's 2 sets of rules. So I want to know, will the department and or even the school start looking into centralizing and doing something about, that there's not 2 sets of rules and to avoid these conflicts, because it seems like it is a recurring. Thank you.
Yeah, just a clarity on the 12 learners. What's happening? Are they suspended? Especially since it's going to be matric exams and prelims. What's going to happen with them? Just clarity around that.
It was three.
I just wanted to ask about the. Oh my God, I forgot. It was the. Oh, I'll come back. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it will be number 5. 4 is this side, yeah.
My name is Benedict Alan, original chairperson of South African Council in China. Firstly, MEC would want to appreciate the one step for suspending the principal. And secondly, there's a repetition of what happened in 2016. And we cannot continue to have the same problems in one school. So I want to pledge MEC that aside, we are here if we need our support as young people, and also to take part in the learner support program, because we are also leaders in our student organizations. So I think also our knowledge in that regard will assist. Thank you.
Okay. Are you coming back from it?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. I was just reminded by you. I wanted to find out, MEC, if you've been given a report on the interventions from 2016, I think it was 2018, the hair issue, and then there was another issue again. I wanted to find out, MEC, if, because there was a commitment to some sort of diversity training after that. And have you been briefed on whether it worked? Are you of the view that this training and this has worked? And how this one that you're instituting now will be any different?
Okay.
Okay, my question links onto this actually. We've had many complaints last week from some parents who say that since the hair protests, Gauteng came, there was a lot of noise that was made, there were interventions, there were resolutions that were tabled, but you since neglected everything. You didn't do a continuous monitoring of whether the interventions are working and whether everybody is satisfied, and that's why these things keep on coming back. We spoke to one parent who was fuming, who said, but this is like a daily occurrence. They get complaints from their children almost daily. Some of the kids, black children, come back home crying that this is what they've experienced, this is what was said to them. And some of the parents are saying that they're not even complaining anymore because they feel that these issues are falling on deaf ears and Gauteng is simply not taking this seriously enough. How do you respond to this criticism, MEC, that since 2016, this whole thing was just neglected and now we're coming back with a lot of noise and parents don't have much confidence that there will be change?
Directly, Chief Director, some questions are for you. Respond, then you come back this side.
I think just around the issue of the suspended learners and how they will be supported at this particular time of year going into exams. The department is fully committed to supporting all learners, whether they are suspended or in the system. So suspension doesn't mean that they will not be supported. There is usually a program where the school gives out information, be it through electronically or even face-to-face if the learner comes in at another time. And also when they get to exam writing, hopefully this matter would have been resolved by then, but even in terms of the exam, should it still be ongoing, then we would look at allocating them to a designated centre where they would be given all the privileges of any student writing the final exam. So certainly where the learners are, they would be getting the support they would have got if they were at school.
But the report was implemented, isn't it?
Yes.
Maybe respond to that because
respond
MEC was not here. Yes.
All right.
MEC was
Regarding the previous incident and the support that was given at that particular time, It is true that there was quite a big intervention program and quite a lot of people were involved. The SGB, of course, also took the lead. And the assumption was that with those diversity programs put in place and the support given by the district, that indeed the department would have monitored. It is interesting to hear that parents are saying they don't even complain anymore. I was just checking with the district director who says that no complaints have been sent to the district office. We are not aware. Where we were, we thought that the matters had been dealt with, that the matters were being addressed. And certainly that is one of the gaps that we've identified in this coming program. We've actually, when we sat with Matthew Guni, we said, we don't only want an intervention program, we want follow-up programs as well. And we were saying that maybe quarterly or every 6 months we would come back to the school to see, how have they implemented. But I wanted to underscore what the MEC has said, colleagues. It starts at home. And this is where parents need to join us in strengthening the belief, the tolerance, and the diversity program that we're hoping to have at the school level. So just to go into that indeed we will make sure that, and we will, as we engage with parents again, invite them that if they have issues, they must please come to the fore. It doesn't help to sit in a corner, feel the pain, and not share it, because then we can't address it. So that would also be the appeal to parents listening to say, please, share with us if there are issues that you haven't shared as yet. Thank you.
I think you've covered
almost everything.
Yeah, covered all of them. I do appreciate we've noted the support of psych. And really, there shouldn't be two sets of rules. There shouldn't be. There's one code of conduct for all learners. So clearly, perhaps the learners are raising an issue of implementation, and those are things that we want to deal with. We want to cut out, remove all those bad weeds. When I'm saying weeds, I'm saying behavioral patterns. Want to remove all of them. Educators have a big responsibilities, and it's important from time to time they remember that. But when you are a teacher, you are a parent to children at school. You are a mentor, you are a leader. Beyond you teaching them, you've got a great responsibility. You are a role model. So they must never ever forget that at any given point when they are teaching. And so clearly, the kids are raising the implementation of code of conduct and a set of. So they mustn't forget that, and they have to at all times remember. They've got a big role to play in shaping the lives of many kids. We lose many kids. We lose many children, directly or indirectly, through being affected by how they are treated in school, by educators. Now I just came back from Davidton, and I was given a report of a learner that lost his life, took their lives. And in that they had written, the child complained about how the teacher was treating him. So teachers must never forget that the type of impact that they have on learners. It might even to such an extent be much more greater than the parents themselves in terms of influence on the child. So these two sets of rules, these are things that we want to get rid of. And we're hoping that with this program, but also keeping a closer eye on the school, this type of problems will go. And I want to urge parents across. SGDE, we've got all these numbers, hotline, WhatsApp, you name it. If you want to lodge a complaint, there's always avenues where you can bring it to the attention of the higher structures, the district, to come through. We have IDSOs that are looking at schools, looking after schools, district directors, chief directors, DDG, all the way up to myself, to really ensure that schools function. So parents need to come forward. If there are some challenges, bring it forward, we will deal with them. So they should never feel that the Department of Education is not listening. Everybody in school, whether it's a public or private, they they are not outside our own reach if there's some form of misbehavior. No one, whether in a private school or in a public school, if there's something wrong, will come in and will be unapologetic when we intervene and will be decisive. Because we have a role of developing this nation as education. So they've answered the report, the suspension. So all in all, we want you to give the school an opportunity, colleagues, especially from yourselves. Let's allow us, when we're done, we'll come back and report. I know that you can come and investigate. Let's give the SGB a chance. Let's give the SGB a chance. They need to move quickly. I told them that they really need to move quickly. They can't take too long. They need to move quickly as soon as possible, get over and done with this disciplinary process. We know their parents, they are working, but they need to take time because they availed themselves to be elected, and they should also understand that they didn't, as much as you availed yourself to be elected to oversee the school, you have to do, if we are struggling, they need to let us know that they are struggling. We need to give them support, we need to bring them additional support, we'll do that. So they have to move quickly. We'll be keeping a close eye on them, we'll be pushing them every day to get an update as to how far. They need to conclude this thing quickly so that kids can come back really, and school move to normality again as quickly as possible. And that's our intention. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if there's one, but I think we are all covered. Thanks very much, MEC. Thanks for coming.
All right, that brings us to the end of that particular press briefing. Of course, a lot coming out there from the Department of Education. In summary, the Gauteng Education MEC, Chiloane Matome, has confirmed, firstly, that the principal of the Pretoria High School for Girls has been suspended for 3 months. It's a precautionary suspension, we are being told. Now, the head of the school has been barred from communicating with educators, with learners, as well as parents. 12 learners at the center of this particular racist allegation have been suspended. 8 of the 12 were school prefects, and their leadership roles have now been withdrawn, we are being told. Disciplinary hearings are scheduled to start this afternoon following that briefing. The school says that the MEC says that there is no need for an independent panel for now, even though that this is not the first incident of racist allegations at this school. The department will, though, however, be embarking and introducing a social cohesion program at the school. You will recall, of course, that 2016 anti-racism protests that took place by black learners at that school because they were not allowed to wear their hair naturally. Of course, certain interventions were made, and we're being told that those were going well because there were no reports since that incident in 2016.